What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Gaming Needs back out here on this Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, and today I'll be coming at you with a video of the top 5 best guns in Cold War. Now this list is not going to include wonder weapons for obvious reasons. They're the best weapons in the game. Also, I'm not going to include the any pistols, akimbo pistols, because let's face it, they're OP, and if I did include them, this list will probably consist of mostly pistols. So it's going to be the top 5 guns, not including wonder weapons and not including any akimbo pistols. Now, I tested these guns out. These are the best in my opinion. Yours might differ, and if they do, let me know in the comments below. But without any further ado, let's get right into this list. All right, coming in at number 5 is the FAR assault rifle, the FFAR. Now, I've never really given this gun a chance. I don't know why, for one reason or another. I just never used it. But after seeing some other videos, I decided to give it a try, and it lives up to the hype. Now, after the Season 5 update, this is the best assault rifle in the game. It has the highest DPS out of all the assault rifles, but along with that, the accuracy on this is amazing. The recoil, you can't beat it, whether you're aiming down sights or you're hip firing. I like to aim down sights a lot, but you're seeing in these clips I'm also hip firing a lot also, because it's just so it's almost as accurate aiming when you're hip firing. It's crazy. And the fire rate, you can't beat it. It's just, it feels like an SMG almost, how it's just spitting out these bullets. It'll melt right through the horde, whatever boss fights you're going up against, or the Legion, it doesn't matter. It does its purpose. It could be higher on this list if not for, in my opinion, there's the better attributes with the rest of the guns that you're gonna see. But if this is the one you choose, you're not really losing out. You can't go wrong with the FFAR, and especially with my class setup that I'm going to show you right now. All right, this is my class setup for the FFAR. Now, the optic obviously is personal preference, whatever you want to use, but as you can see, I'm running the Hawksmoor. The muzzle is the SOCOM Eliminator. The barrel is the 19.5-inch Task Force, and on the body I'm running Tiger Team Spotlight just because I like to aim down sights, and as you can see, the aim down sight time is affected a little bit by the Ember sighting point. It's not a noticeable difference, but I'm just a stickler for that, so I'm running Tiger Team. But if you don't care about that, run the Ember sighting point. It helps with the hip fire, but this, even with the Tiger Team Spotlight, the hip fire is still great. The underbarrel I'm running is the Field Agent grip. The magazine is the Salvo 44 round fast mag. The handle is the Serpent wrap, and the stock is the Raider stock. So give this out. That's number 5. Now let's move on to number 4. All right, coming in at number 4 is the OTS-9 submachine gun. Now, originally I had the Tech 9 in this spot, but after the recent nerf, the Tech 9 is still a good gun, but in my opinion, not as good as this one, and not as good to crack my top 5. So the OTS-9, just like the FFAR, is great for hip fire and ADS, and you're going to see with most of the guns on my list that is the case, because I think that matters a lot, because in some situations you need to aim down sights, and in others you need to be able to just shoot from the hip. So having both of those being good on a gun is very important to me, and you'll see that that's the trend with the rest of the guns on this video. Now, after the nerf of the Tech 9, the OTS-9 has the highest DPS of any submachine gun, especially with my setup at 94,442 DPS. So that's, you can tell, is really good. And as with all the submachine guns, well, most of them I should say, except for something like the KSP, which is burst fire, this has a great fire rate. And what I like about the SMGs is that the maneuverability that comes with it, because it's not a big gun. You're fast, you're jumping all around the map, you're running. If you're getting cornered by a horde, you're able to get out of there quick. It also is great for boss fights. Anyone, Orda, Legion, Valentina, does not matter. It melts through those bosses, especially with a good field upgrade like Ring of Fire going. The headshot multiplier, though, is what separates this gun from a lot of the other guns on my list. It's in a whole nother world. You guys have to try it out. I'm sure you have. And as you can see in these clips, you can't be beat with it. And now I'm going to show you my class setup for this gun. All right, here's my class setup for the OTS-9. The optic, as I said, with the FFAR is personal preference, but I am running the fast point reflex. The muzzle I am using is the KGB Eliminator. The barrel is the 8.1-inch Task Force. The body for this one, I'm using the Ember sighting point. The underbarrel is the Bruiser Grip. The magazine is the 32 round fast mag. The handle is Serpent Wrap, and the stock is the Spetsnaz stock. So give this a try. Let me know what you guys think. And now let's move on to number 3. All right, coming in at number 3 is the Gallo shotgun. Now this might surprise a lot of people because depending on who you ask, this might be their number 1 gun, but for me, I couldn't do it. I can't put it at the number 1 spot. It's a great gun, don't get me wrong. Obviously it's number 3, but I cannot put it at number 1. Now, everyone has probably used this by now, so we all know it is a semi-auto shotgun, which is good. It has, so that fire rate is really good, especially for a shotgun. And then what's even better is once you pack a punch it goes full auto. So just imagine that, full auto shotgun. Just let that ring in your ear for a second. Now, just like with the rest of the guns on this list, it's good with ADSing and it's good with hip fire. It's got great reload speed, and it also does great damage against like armored zombies, elites, and everything. It's just that once you get into the higher rounds, you're gonna start to notice a little bit of a drop off. Now, maybe that doesn't mean too much to you, but I like to go high rounds, and I don't want to be able to notice that there's a drop off of the damage that it's doing. But if that doesn't matter to you too much, then maybe you would put this at your number 1 spot. But I just couldn't. And if you're running the right attachments, like my setup that I'm going to show you, it lasts for a certain while until you get too high up in rounds in the round-based maps, and in Outbreak until you reach a certain world tier. I want to say probably around like 6 or 7, you're going to start to notice that it's not packing the punch that it once did, no pun intended. But enough of that. Let me show you the class setup that I run. All right, now this is my class setup for the Gallo. As you can see, obviously I'm not running an optic, not that there's anything wrong with that, but you don't get the additional slots that you get for the other guns with this one. So I'm not running an optic and I'm not running a muzzle attachment. But if you're not going to be aiming down sights with this gun, then I would suggest taking off the handle and putting it on the muzzle attachment just for the equipment rate. But this gun has, like, especially once you get Deadeye, the snap aim with this is amazing, which is why I personally recommend to run a handle on it. But like I said, if not, just replace it. The barrel I'm using is a 24.8-inch Task Force. The body is the Ember sighting point. The magazine is the 12-round tube for the additional ammo, especially once you pack a punch it, how much extra you get and how fast it reloads with Speed Cola. Run it with this. The handle I'm using is a Serpent Wrap, but like I said, if you're not going to be ADSing, which I think would be a mistake, because once you get Deadeye, that snap aim, you can't beat it. I'm running the Serpent Wrap, and my stock is the Marathon stock. So give this a try. Let me know what you think. Also, let me know if this should have been higher on my list. But once you see these next 2 guns, maybe you'll understand why it's number 3. So with that being said, let's move on to number 2. And to the juicy part, the top 2 guns. So coming in at number 2, as you can see, is the M16 tactical rifle. Now this gun is one of the best guns in the game of any category, and in my opinion, it is probably the best gun to use outside of shotguns for zombies. Whether you're playing Outbreak or the round base, low rounds, high rounds, doesn't matter. This gun is the best gun to beat the Legion with, in my opinion, and it is great for all of the other boss fights as well. Now, what sets this gun apart, in my opinion, from other rifles in general is this gun is great, not good, great at hip fire, which you don't see too many times with a lot of assault rifles. So not only is it great at hip fire, but the damage that it does. Now we all know it is a 3-shot burst gun, but once you pack a punch it, it turns into 6, and they just destroy. Okay, armor, bosses, like I said, I can't hype this gun up enough. That's why it's in at my number 2 spot. Like everybody, I'm sure everybody has used this gun, and if you haven't, please try it. It's amazing. Not enough to make my number 1 spot, but nonetheless still a great gun. Give it a try, especially with the class setup that I'm going to show you right now. Now, my class setup for the M16, as usual, the optic is personal preference, but I'm running the Celix Hollow Scout. The muzzle is the SOCOM Eliminator. The barrel, of course, is the 20.5-inch Task Force. The body that I'm running with is the Tiger Team Spotlight, but that's just like I said earlier, because I like the ADS, and the Ember Sighting Point drops the speed a little bit, but it's not a noticeable difference. So that's also a preference. If you don't really want an ADS, then run the Ember Sighting Point, but I promise you won't notice a difference aiming down sights or hip fire interchanging either of these 2 attachments. So whichever one floats your boat more. The underbarrel is the Bruiser Grip. The magazine is the Salvo 54 round Fast Mag. The handle I'm running is the Airborne Elastic Wrap, and the stock is the Raider Pad. So give this a try. I cannot recommend this gun enough. But without any further ado, the moment we've all been waiting for, let's move on to the number 1 gun on my list. All right, coming in at number 1, as you can see, is the Hauer shotgun. Now, this to me is the king of all guns. Maybe you guys won't have it this high, but I love this gun. Now, as I was saying before when I showed the Gallo, a lot of people might have that gun as their number 1, which I understand, especially after the previous nerf of the Hauer. But since they lowered the zombie health cap, I think, in my opinion, this gun has moved back to number 1 just because of its staying power. And what I mean by that is, once you get into higher rounds with the Gallo, whether it's a round based or the world tiers in Outbreak, you're going to notice that drop off that I mentioned. And to me, I don't like that. So that's the main reason why I think that this gun has moved back, because it has staying power. The damage it does lasts into the higher rounds and into an Outbreak, into the higher world tiers. It still has 1-shot headshot damage into higher rounds, way further than the Gallo does. So that's why after that, the lowering of the zombie health cap, this gun to me has moved back into the number 1. I think this is the best gun for Outbreak, period. Whatever loadout you're running in the world tiers, the lower ones, if you want to use a different gun, that's fine. You need to have this gun Pack-a-Punch level 3 and upgraded to legendary weapon rarity in Outbreak if you want to survive into those higher rounds. You have to. Now, it has great hip fire accuracy, especially with my setup that I'm going to show you, and it's also great for aiming down sights, as you can see in some of these clips. Now, the Gallo does have a faster fire rate, especially once you pack a punch and it goes full auto, but the damage that this gun does, you cannot beat it. I can't stress it enough. Try it out if you haven't, even though I'm sure everyone has. And that's the number 1 reason why, excuse me, in my opinion, this gun is ranked higher than the Gallo, is that damage that it does. As far as DPS per second, obviously, it's not going to be as good as the Gallo, because the Gallo can pump out shots faster, but the amount of damage with each shot, this gun is king, especially when you use the class setup that I'm going to show you right now. Right now, here's my class setup for what, in my opinion, is the number 1 gun for zombies in Cold War. As I said with the Gallo, I'm not running an optic because you don't get the additional attachment slots that you get with some of the other weapons. And as far as the muzzle, like I said, if you're not going to be taking advantage, which I think would be a mistake, but if you're not going to be taking advantage of the snap aim once you get Deadeye, then I would replace the handle with a muzzle attachment for the equipment drop. But that snap aim, and like, just try it if you haven't yet. You're gonna understand why I'm not running a muzzle attachment. Now the barrel is the 25.2-inch task force, of course, for the extra damage. The body, I am running the Ember sighting point just for, with this gun, some better hip firing, because you can't, like, aiming down sights, like I said, the one shot quick shot is good, but because it doesn't have the same fire rate as the Gallo, I'm running Ember sighting point just to save myself that little bit of time with ADSing too much if there's too big of a horde. The magazine I'm running is the 8-round tube. The handle is the Serpent grip, and the stock is the Marathon pod. So give this gun a try. This is, again, in my opinion, yours might be different, the king of all guns, King Howard, #1 gun in Black Ops Cold War. Give it a try and let me know what you think. All right, and there you have it, my top 5 best guns for Cold War. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you agree with my list, or if you have anything that differs, you think I should move those numbers around, just let me know what you guys think and try these out. And if you do like this video, or you found it in any way informative, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. And until the next time, this has been your boy Gamer Neats, and I'm out. I'll holla.